Morning reading today from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, verse 6. Na tad pasayate suryo na shashanko na pavakaha yadgatva na nivatante tathama paramam mama. Translation. That supreme abode of mine is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. What do we hear about? We hear further from Krishna, who is speaking about a spiritual world and how different that world is to what we know here. There is no sun, there is no moon, fire or electricity, but still there is light. And how can we understand the difference between the material and the spiritual world? This planet is known in the scriptures, the planet that we live on, is known in the scriptures as Mrityu Loka. Loka means planet, world, and Mrityu means death. Whatever we know, whatever comes to existence here, it's also bound to stop existing. And that world is known as Vaikunta. Kunta means fear. Vai means without fear. What does that mean? Very good friends of mine, they have an animal farm, and that, you know, that kind of animal farms, when they bring the animals that were about to be slaughtered due to different reasons, maybe simply for their flesh, for the meat, maybe a cow because she stopped giving milk, and the animals can live there freely without having the fear that they will be killed one day. And it's a very different experience having an exchange with those animals compared to the exchange you can have with the animals on a regular farm. So in that sense, that world is the world, the spiritual world is the world where there is no death, there is no old age, there is no disease. How do we understand that? It's so different from what we know here. I don't know if it can be, if some parallels can be drawn when we think of the idea of heaven in Christianity. I have no idea, since I grew up in a communist country. So I guess maybe some parallels are there, but it's also very much different. I can just tell you, when I read Bhagavad Gita for the first time, which was 20-something years ago, it was the time when I came in contact with Bhakti Yoga, and this book was one of the first ones that I read, philosophical books, and it was captivating for me that this book could describe this world and my present experience so well and in such depth. I literally felt like I'm sitting in the first row in the theater, observing that theater play, and suddenly, not only that I'm seeing the actors, but suddenly all the curtains, the backdrops are being lifted up, and I can see everything behind. I can see the hands that are moving the actors, and I can see all the special effects. It was really amazing experience. And then, apart from that, there were parts there was information in this book that I had no experience of, that I couldn't even understand. What is that about? And I thought, okay, let me give it a chance. One part I really understand, and there are many things that I can't figure out at the moment, but let me give it a try. Let me test it. Let me apply it in my life, what I understand, and see how it goes from there. And during these 20-something years, many of the things that I couldn't understand then, I can understand now. The knowledge that I was reading about became realized knowledge, became internalized and fully understood. And at the same time, there are so many things still that I don't understand. That's the beauty of it. This discovery that we can make daily with this kind of knowledge. When we speak of this kind of knowledge, yoga philosophy is like a jar of honey. How come? I can tell you about the experience my husband made when he was studying at the university, and one of his side subjects was Indology. And he had many professors that were coming. Oh, I see that I'm a bit schräg. So he had many professors that were coming and speaking about philosophy, and they were really experts in their fields, and they read and studied the subject for many years, but their classes were mostly very boring, very dry, very theoretical. And then there was one professor, he was already retired, and his field of expertise was Ramayana. Ramayana is one of the two very long and great epics that are coming from India. One is Mahabharata, and Bhagavad Gita is a part of it, and another one is Ramayana, speaking about Lord Ramachandra. And my husband, at first, he noticed the difference. This class was so full of life. It was very captivating, very interesting. And while he was listening, he came to understanding that this person, while studying Ramayana, he became a devotee of Lord Ram. He joined Hanuman in this devotion to Ram. And in a similar way, yoga philosophy is like that. You can have this jar of honey, you can look at it, you can read about it, you can hear about it, how it tastes, the honey inside. You can know all about its properties. But until that moment, when you decide to open up the jar, to stick your finger in it, and to lick the honey, you will have no idea of how it actually tastes. And that's how yoga philosophy is. It's a living philosophy. You need to live it, you need to apply it, you need to experience it in order to understand it. There comes to my mind a TED talk that I heard recently, a beautiful talk, I can highly recommend it, given by Ethan Hawke, hopefully I'm pronouncing his name properly, and he was speaking about human need to for creative expression. He was speaking about art being need rather than luxury. He was speaking of interconnectedness of a soul, and in one part of his speech towards the end, he was asking us, he was telling us, why not going today and speaking to someone to whom you've never spoken before, or listening to the music that you've never listened before? Why not becoming open and taking into your field of experience something unknown, something new? So having that in mind, the only thing I can do today is to give you an invitation. Why not trying it out, taking that jar of honey in your hand, opening it up, sticking your finger in it, and tasting it. And I can guarantee you a miracle will happen. Thank you so much for your time and attention, and I'm hoping to see you tomorrow.